Something bad about every state. Virginia State, the land of stupid laws, just recently Chesapeake modified a 50-year-old law that banned individuals from trick-or-treating above 12. Oh, also, it's a crime to tickle women in Virginia State. New Jersey has one of the most highest property taxes in the nation. Florida, aka the shit show. Welcome to the state of Mickey Mouse, Miami hot girl summer, alligators, old people, rednecks, and random idiotic Florida men trying to find ways to make the news. If you're looking for a state with hot bipolar weather, with a growing population and terrible traffic, welcome to the Sunshine State. Maine, a boring state where 50% of the land uninhabited. There's absolutely nothing to do in Maine besides look at dirt and trees. About 90% of Maine is covered in forest. Besides the boredom, you can expect mud, long winters, short summers, and bugs such as ticks and backflies, which is 100 times worse than mosquitoes. Michigan State, where potholes are loved dearly. Although the governor is making efforts to repair its roads, citizens still complain. So much so, there's now something called pothole season in Michigan, whatever the hell that means. Arizona, dry, hot, dust storms, lack of rain, and when it does rain, everything gets destroyed because the houses aren't built for rain. The wind, dust, and fumes could cause poor air quality. Oh, and people there drive like a speed limit doesn't exist. Illinois, only known for the city of Chicago. If you're looking to live at a place with very cold winters, high job competition, and higher than average crime rates with awful traffic and a dookie football team to go along with it, then this state is the best place for you. Colorado, the state where an astronaut suit is required to wear just to survive. The state is known for its presence in highly elevated zones that will actually make you experience altitude sickness. New visitors there often will complain of headaches, shortness of breath, dizziness, and nausea. Utah, also known as the state of Mormons, it's boring as ever at night, absolutely barely if any nightlife. Along with minimum entertainment to go along with it, you can expect dog doo-doo air quality due to inversions. Which, to put it in simpler terms, hot air traps cold air underneath, which causes fumes and factory smoke to get trapped along with it. Welcome to Utah, a living breathing cigarette of a state. Sweet home Alabama comes with its fair share of stereotypes such as making very good friends with your cousin. But besides that, it also ranks low in voting rights, worker protections, health and inclusiveness. Speaking of health, the state is ranked number 2 for worst state in America for healthcare access. So, you can make love to your cousin and have no healthcare access to go along with it. Maryland, a boring state with the city Baltimore is one of its biggest attractions. One of the biggest attractions within the city of Baltimore is just hearing how the people speak.
Avenue, Hulu, zinc, iron, and iron.
Besides the crazy accent, the cost of housing in Maryland is 54% more than the national average. Utilities are 8% more than the national average, food is 9% more than the... You know what? The overall cost of living there is 22% more than the national average. Goofy accents and expensive as hell. Tennessee residents going 10 seconds without saying the word y'all. The summers are hot and muggy while the winters boast of a wild nature with occasional snow. To add to that, life expectancy is also very low and Tennessee doesn't have a minimum wage law, so expect to be broke while hearing the word y'all 10 times a day. Montana, visiting the state is like playing hide and seek. According to the U.S. Census data, 46 out of 56 counties in Montana currently qualify as frontier counties, with an average population of 6 or fewer people per square mile. It also has the largest grizzly bear population in the lower 48 states. So, if you run into a bear, good luck getting found or getting help. Oklahoma, a state known for its deficiency in big cities. Some visitors have complained of a lack of big city feeling in Oklahoma, and even though it has Oklahoma City, it is rarely among the top 25 in the country. To add to that, Oklahoma has poor infrastructure. Let's put it like this. You can absolutely tell the difference on the highway when you leave Oklahoma and drive to another state. Missouri State, also known as the state of misery, was ranked among the top 10 worst states to live and work in 2023. Even though it's beautiful and has a thriving music and art scene, Missouri is affected by wild natural disasters like flooding, especially because it's close to the Missouri River. Besides that, Missouri State is landlocked, and if you're a fan of water-based activities like swimming, boating, or surfing, you may need to travel to other states to enjoy such activities. There's also steep political turmoil for the state. Kentucky State was ranked as one of the least healthiest states in the country, and I'm not talking about their economic health. Kentucky has held on to many records, with one of them in 2016 being third highest rate of death from heart attack. Although Kentucky State is improving their health, there is still room for more improvement. Oh, and it's also known as the land of fried chicken. I wonder why they were ranked the least healthiest state. Minnesota has local foods and regional food preferences that are pretty bad. I even heard my friend complaining about visiting the toilet every time he ate a mixture of wild rice and Swedish meatballs. Also, the weather sucks, and there is high regional taxes. Oregon is about as fun as watching grass grow, a boring state where earthquakes are like a normal day's sunshine. Speaking of sunshine, if you live in the western part of the state, expect to see gloomy clouds and rain for the majority of the year. And let's not forget about the driving. Expect 80% of the locals to be driving 15 to 20 miles under the speed limit. Get out of the way, Grandpa! Nevada State, perfect place to come and gamble your life away at Las Vegas. Anyway, Nevada's got a problem with water. The state has for a long time been relying on the Colorado River for its supply. But with the changing weather patterns and increased demands, the water source begins to diminish, leaving Nevadians with a dry mouth and a gambling problem. South Carolina, or just call it a sniffing and sneezing state. If you've been to South Carolina, you'll know how people are prone to sniffing and sneezing, especially when the trees and flowers bloom during the spring and summer. And did anyone tell you that tissue papers are the most dominant products there? Wisconsin is actually the most notorious state when it comes to intolerable bugs. Talk about ticks, mosquitoes, and spiders galore, they wouldn't just let you live in peace. And to my knowledge, mosquitoes are the worst of the bunch. Connecticut is a good place to live unless you're loaded. And please get me right, not with bullets, but cash. You see, Connecticut is one of the most expensive states in America, and anyone living there will advise you that you need to check in with your finances and budget before relocating to Connecticut. Housing is 25% higher than the national average, while utilities are 29% higher. When it comes to basic necessities such as food, clothing, and groceries are around 15% higher than the rest of the country. That is if we exclude the next state, of course. New York residents have become so used to trash, rats, terrible subways, and bad dancing that it has actually become part of their lives. Couple that with paying an arm and a leg for an arm's-width apartment with a sewer smell to go along with it, and you got yourself a great state. New Mexico, a state ranked as second highest when it comes to violent crime rates, is one state that I would advise you shouldn't step in if you were a visitor. The crime rates are rampant because of poverty, drug abuse, and poor job markets. If you're a visitor to New Mexico, then you should have a gun in your budget, just in case you're preparing to move in. South Dakota, you can call it a bison state because it's no news that bisons rule the state. Even drivers using the highways in South Dakota will agree with me of their encounters with bisons on the way. How boastfully they'll take over the road and leave you with a damaged car. Wyoming state, on the other hand, is a state only suited for the cold-blooded. You see, Wyoming is a state where the winter seasons can last up to 7 months or more, and sometimes this situation worsens and becomes extremely dangerous for drivers, especially when the roads turn icy, leading to more fatalities. Idaho state, the #1 state that is known for its prevalence in wildfires, the dense and overcrowded conditions and the presence of dead and dying trees put a large percentage of Idaho's forests at increased risk of wildfires. In the summer, the state is prone to wildfires affecting many areas of the state. Arkansas is a state in America that is quite known for its unwelcoming behavior. If you're a visitor in the state, then be ready to be lonely. You see, when you try to chat in Arkansas, it's not uncommon to get cold shoulders, be scolded for your language, or get ignored after asking for directions in that state. Rhode Island's high population density, winter hazards, and poor driving conditions already mean points off for this oceanic state. Nebraska will always expose you to a variety of weather extremes. If it's not that cold in winters, then it will be so hot in the summers. New Hampshire state has put itself in a position where only the rich can afford homes. Lack of affordable housing units is just one thing that new residents will be complaining about, and to add to that, you also have a 1 in 31% chance of becoming a victim of property or violent crime in Rochester town. Vermont's rural nature with lack of urban amenities makes it quite unfriendly for any visitor who might try to visit the state. Besides just that, shortages in job opportunities in specific industries, high costs of living, and harsh winters just make it more boring. Kansas State. Never call it boring to Kansans' face because they'll take great offense to that, as every Kansan is always oozing with state pride. But did you know that the country ranks the top in mental illness cases? Delaware State is a place where you will delay arriving at your workplace just because of the heavy traffic that congests the highways. Yeah, it's quite disturbing because residents always have to keep up with waking up early so as to avoid being delayed by traffic. And did you know that even the state's medium-sized and small towns have bad traffic? Talk more of having problems in catching an international flight. Mississippi's population actually dropped by more than 12,000 people from 2021 to 2022, according to the US Census. There are also still some parts in Mississippi that are heavily engulfed in racism. A dwindling population with racism seems like an echo chamber being formed. West Virginia's distance to major cities is one reason you can think twice before going to stay there, and of course, if you love the peace and tranquility of the state, no problem. But the state's rural nature and mountainous terrain mean that residents often find themselves far removed from the conveniences and amenities of larger metropolitan areas. Pennsylvania State, a place where it's a sin to live in a green space and thrive. Yeah, Philadelphia's city park and recreational areas, plus the many buildings have taken over the green space, and you're just there with the schemes of tall pillars around you. In this state, it's quite obvious that you might be detached from nature in a week of living there. Hawaii State. Known for its opulence when it comes to natural beauty, it's also discomforting to know that it is categorized as a top state in America with a very high traffic. The contributing factor, over tourism, of course. Besides that, Hawaii's oceans have also been known to have a bad characteristic for dangerous sharks. Oh yeah, and you're living on a potential time bomb. For Massachusetts, the brutal winters is one concerning thing that many new residents will often find discomforting. Can you imagine that the state of Massachusetts gets 50 inches of snow per year? Fitchburg, a town in Massachusetts, is actually the snowiest with the average snowfall clocking in at 82 inches. If you're looking forward to escaping this state, wait till you land yourself in Washington. Washington is a state in America known for its showers. Yes, it rains a lot in Washington, and even an overhead umbrella would be leaking if you were to stand outside for long during the rainy showers. In fact, during the winter months, Washington is the 5th rainiest state in the country. So buckle in, because the gloomy and gray winter months will feel much longer when you live in Washington State. Indiana State, the only land in America known for its deadly tornadoes. Indiana State averages more than 20 tornadoes annually, and more so, these destructive weather patterns come with little notice. The North Dakota state is known for its scattered state when it comes to population distribution. If you were to move into North Dakota, then you would experience some sort of loneliness and isolation because of the lack of diversity there. And the distance between towns and the flatness of the eastern side is not something you can jiggle on with. North Carolina State would take the trophy when it comes to its needy appearance. I would call it a third world state of America, because it ranks high when it comes to all sorts of poverty problems, like a less than average public school system and a lack of transport options. But do you know that North Carolina also faces a problem of food insecurity? Okay, that's what they'll not show you. Georgia, ranked the #1 worst state for healthcare. Louisiana State, a place where corruption and scandals rule the citizens. Louisiana has for long been in a history of corruption cases and scandals, and it seems like almost every other week a new politician is caught trying to tip their hands on the silver platter. Almost everyone, all the way from those in state-level jobs to usual town sheriffs, cannot be trusted. Texas residents have lived to complain of the relatively high taxes and an uncontrolled border. Well, I guess it's kind of controlled now. Anyways, the state's sales tax is 6.25%, which is higher than the national 5.53%. In addition, Texas ranks as having the 8th highest property taxes in the country, with an average rate of 1.81%. Texas, honestly, isn't that bad, though. California. California residents will never tell you how they get enough money just to live in a shitty small apartment. Can you imagine it's only $5,000 a month? Let's also add high sales tax. Oh, and let's couple that with high income tax. Damn, we also forgot to mention highest gas prices in the country, increased crime, homelessness increasing. Oh, I wanted to add my favorite, highest HIV rates and fire dangers. But hey, you might be able to see your favorite celebrity. Alaska, cold as heck and ranked #1 state for the highest crime rate in 2022. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, and remember, knowledge is power.
Knowledge.